Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrick, and alongside me, as always, is the PC Muscle Race himself, LeRon Dawkins.
I'm back. What's poppin'? I missed you guys.
You're back, LeRon.
Yeah.
You're back. Happy to see you, LeRon.
Yeah, happy to see you too.
I feel like we've done this a lot in the last 3 hours or so.
I know. Feels like a lifetime, doesn't it?
I know. I've said hi to you 4 times tonight, LeRon.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, well, you're telling everybody about the magic behind the scenes. Come on, stop it.
You know, they've been listening to us. This is your first time here. Welcome. We do this all the time. Also here is a mad pharmacist herself, Stephanie Klimov.
Hey, I'm back too. Except I didn't get to say hi to you guys 4 times. That's okay.
No, I mean you can if you really want to.
Okay.
Stephanie.
Yes.
You have brought us a very special guest tonight.
I have. I don't feel worthy, but I'm very excited.
I know. I'm very excited he's here as well, even though if you're a patron, we already talked to him for about 20 minutes and it was awesome, but he's also here on the main show for the first part of the main show. We have voice actor extraordinaire Nick Apostolides. Welcome to the show, Nick.
Hello, everybody. What's happening? Thank
Nick,
you for having me, guys. Thank you.
Nick, very glad you're here. Very happy you're here. If people have been sleeping under a rock for the last, I don't know, 5-10 years, let the people know who you are. What are you famous for? Why are you important?
Most people know me from voicing Leon Kennedy in the Resident Evil franchise, and started back in 2019. My first game released, Resident Evil 2 remake, and then we did a Netflix series for Infinite Darkness that came out in like 21, and then last year in 2023, Resident Evil 4 remake came out, and I was very, very happy to be a part of that particular project because the original Resident Evil 4 has been my favorite game for a very, very long time, since 2005. So I'm just a fan. You know, Steph, you said you're not worthy. I hope you don't mean that. I'm literally just a big dork, and I'm just a dork that got lucky to play my dream role in video games. And so that's it. But I'm just happy to be here, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is awesome. You do more than just the simple video game voice acting though. You do motion capture, you do all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, my background is in action acting. So before I was even an actor, I wanted to be like your Indiana Jones type guy. I wanted to be, John McClane, the Die Hard type guy. I grew up watching those movies, and when I started acting, because of my boyish looks, I was always getting cast as like the guy next door or the boyfriend in all these independent projects. And I got so tired of that real quick. And I was like, I don't want to go in this direction. I don't want to, nothing against him, but I didn't want to like act in like Hallmark movies. I wanted to do action movies. That's why I began. So a couple good friends of mine in the New England area, in the Boston area, we started doing action films, really low budget stuff. And I just got training and experience. And then when I got to LA, a couple of years into my career, someone introduced me to like the world of motion capture. And they're like, yeah, you can act in video games and do stunts and everything. I was like, what? I had no idea that was a career path. And then, I just auditioned one day for my first video game, which was Resident Evil, and I got it. So the rest is history.
Would you say that, the career in motion capture for video games is kind of more recent, so to speak, in the last, I don't know, decade? Which I don't know if you call decade recent, but it wasn't always an option.
Definitely. I would say 10 years ago, there was a very, very, very small amount of people, actors, doing motion capture. Most people didn't even know what that term was a decade ago. And now it's a highly sought after position. There's a lot of training, a lot of classes online, and a lot of actors are trying to transition into motion capture because the popularity of video games, just the sheer amount of work compared to a decade ago. Now you've got big famous film actors like A-listers wanting to do video games now because I think they see the writing on the wall that that's kind of where the future is going. Even in films like Planet of the Apes, like that's a perfect example. They use humans to motion capture, even animal movements and stuff. So it is like, it's a new technology. It's still in its baby phases and it's exploding right now. So I was happy to get in, 8 years ago, whenever I began, 2016. And I'm trying to train all the time, trying to get into as many projects as I can.
Motion capture is fascinating. I've watched a few kind of, documentaries or docu-series or vidocs from, Sony Santa Monica has one.
Yeah.
Someone did one on The Last of Us. Ninja Theory does a bunch because they have a really state of the art motion capture studio. Like it's
Cool stuff.
it's real. Yeah, it's so cool to watch. I mean, it's kind of funny to watch a little bit because some of them, they're the tight suits with the ping pong balls and the dots on the faces and stuff, but then like you see it translate to this like this model that's like inanimate, and then you tie this animation to this model, and it just works, and it's just it blows my mind, that type of stuff that happens in video games that nobody thinks about.
It's technical. That's the biggest difference. Like if you're only used to doing live action or theater, the first day you work on a motion capture set, I find like that's the weirdest one for people, because they have to learn all those differences, and it really is a very technical form of acting where, like, inches matter, where if you're touching this imaginary thing, or you can't be crossing this wall that's not really there but kind of there, and it's just all these technical things you have to think about and consider while wearing all the technology as well. You've got the battery pack, you've got the camera in front of your face, the light shining in your eyes. It's different at the core of it. Yeah, it's still acting, pretty, I would say, closer to theater than like film acting, because you're performing like the whole scene in a giant open space they call the volume, and you have to imagine everything is there. You have to imagine that the environment is there, whether you're in like a cave underground or you're in medieval times. You have to just think about what it's like to be there, and it's just a big shiny room. So tons of differences, but it's really fascinating.
I went to art school for a while, and I went for graphic design, but I took a it was like an animation rigging class, and this was in 2006, so like that was
Early days.
early days, and I thought it was really cool, but I didn't really know how to pursue that avenue of like a career path, so I just kind of stayed in a you know graphic design slash, well, back then it was called new media, but like a social media slash now editing and all that kind of stuff, video editing. And um, I always thought that the people who do that type of stuff have, like, they just have superpowers. It's really cool. So when you're acting in the volume, as you called it, when you're imagining this, whether you're in like a cave or whatever, are there sometimes I see like prop boxes that people hide behind when they're acting, and sometimes there's not. I mean, how do they determine when to use those, or maybe it goes game by game, company by company?
It's usually all the same. They call anything that's in the scene. Let's say it's a car. Okay, let's say someone has to get in and out of a car in the cinematic. They call that geo, like geography. It's the geography of the room. What is physically in the room that the characters can't walk through? Like, you can't walk through a wall. So if the guy's walking down a hallway, they typically mark out the hallway with like stanchions or, ropes or something. So that you can't cross over. Otherwise, your character will walk into a wall. Uh, so stuff like that. They build what they need to only. There might be, you might be in a room with a lot of things in the game, but your character only interacts with one thing on a desk. So they usually show you in real time a 3D rendering of the room, and the director can communicate to you like, oh, by the way, there's a guy being tortured in the corner. He's hanging by chains. So just be aware that he's there. because it will affect your performance, knowing that. You know, that's that. But your character, when he says this line, you're going to walk over to that desk and pick up that piece of paper or pick up that walkie-talkie or something, and they give you only what they need, but they show you everything they can, so you can imagine the environment. And yes, they build things out of 2x4s. They build them as simply as possible, just for speed, really.
Yeah, this is actually this is what we're hearing right now is actually more than what we talked about in episode 25 of Crossroads when Nick was on, because Nick was on and we all talked exclusively like his experience with Resident Evil 2 and the remake, and like a lot of the honors and stuff, because Nick, if I remember correctly, didn't you meet the original Leon, the original actor for Leon?
I had a bunch of phone calls with him. I had a friendship over the phone. It was during the pandemic, and we talked maybe half a dozen times. He was a really, really nice guy, and unfortunately, he passed away from health complications sometime around maybe 2020. But he was a nice fellow.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of the questions that are being asked now are questions that we never got around to, because we were just all like between myself, Nelly, and Austin, we were just being geeks about Resident Evil. Because you did live motion capture, so what is probably your favorite motion capture like event from any of the Resident Evil games that you had actually done? Because I think you did mocap for every appearance you had as Leon. You did mocap for, right?
For the cinematics.
For cinematics, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so so did someone playing as Mr. X actually like truss you up by the neck?
No one played Mr. X. He was fully animated.
Oh, okay.
But I will say, I remember one scene they did hoist me up to get choked. So they grabbed my body. They grabbed my body data um, as I was like kind of hanging from my neck or whatever, and my legs were dangling. I remember doing that. I forget how we did it, but we did it creatively, and they just animated X to they put his hand around my neck, and there's no one way to do it. Every studio, every project does things like that differently. Sometimes they do hire a big dude. Um, for instance, in Resident Evil 4, my good friend John Bryant, who he voiced Mendez. He is a tall dude. I think he's 6'6", maybe. He's a giant dude. He towers over me, and we did a bunch of choke scenes for RE4 with Mendez, and sometimes I would have to stand on a box, and they would grab my facial data, so they would split it up, and John would just be standing there. He'd grab me by the neck softly. He would kind of lift me up. I'd be on a box, and I'd be doing all the performance and the voice, and then in a separate take, I would suspend myself over a pipe or something, and they would grab my body data, and then they would mix the face and the performance with the body and the dangling legs, splice that together to make that performance. But they kept his, because all he had to do was choke me out and kind of stare at me and look at me. It's kind of cool.
Menacingly.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of incredible, I don't want to hijack the conversation, but I would love to get some listener questions out if that's okay. As Corey had mentioned earlier, we have a huge Resident Evil fan base. I myself am a newbie to the Resident Evil franchise, but I love them. And the only Resident Evils that I've played is RE4 Remake, and then I went back and played RE2 Remake. So,
Which one do you like better?
oh, I think ultimately I still prefer RE4 Remake because I do like the action aspect of it. But
Me
and
too.
I'll admit I was terrified of playing RE2 because I'm such a weenie. But everyone says it's a great game. It's a great game. It's a great game. You have to. And I have so much respect for just how far the franchise has come along. And what's that? The police officer Martin or
Marvin.
Marvin.
Marvin. It made me cry. I was so sad. Anyway, so Those are the only two Resident Evil games that I've played. I will play Village soon. I did get that game, but that's why like I'm a little biased as being a fan of Leon, just because those are only two games that I've played. And just side note, it is true the Boss Rush community has voted that I will be dressing up as Leon for Halloween. So wish me luck.
Hey, I want
So
to see that. You gotta tag me
um,
in that.
yes, absolutely. So we have a listener, the one true James. What is your opinion? And this could be like a 2-hour conversation. So it'll be very high level. What's your opinion on the recent SAG deal about AI? Does this satisfy you? If you feel you can answer, do you feel SAG is doing a good enough job representing you as a voice actor?
That's I'm gonna have to say that that's in the category of like a long answer. In the spirit of getting to a lot of these, I'll just say, we're trying very hard to come to the right decision with all this. AI is scary. I'm an artist, not just an actor, but I'm a graphite pencil artist. I do work like that. I'm a musician as well, and AI, the first thing it's going to come for. I mean, they're already doing it. With AI art, you could just click a button and generate an image and stuff. So it's coming for these industries, and I think just regulation in general is very important. Um, I need to research even more and talk to a lot more people before I can give like a proper answer. But it's a thing, and we're all taking it seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I love drawing. Just seeing AI art as cool as it looks freaks me out. I write books.
Sure.
I write novels. My fifth novel will be published next year, and I'm like, great. They'll put writers out of business too. But that's enough of my fears. All right. Well, we got still sane Shane. Like, wow, still sane Shane. Damn it, Shane. What setting location would you like to see Leon Kennedy in for a future Resident Evil title? And what was your favorite setting location in RE4?
Ooh, in a future game, I think it'd be cool if you went to Disneyland. There's a mod if anyone plays Left 4 Dead 2. There's a computer mod where it puts you in the Magic Kingdom.
No
And it
way.
was so fun to fight zombies in the Magic Kingdom, and I just think that would be wild in like a theme park.
Corey, there's your
How
game.
cool?
Yeah.
How cool would that
Yeah.
be?
And it's very fitting. I feel like Leon with those like campy lines, like it would just be perfect. It's in theme. I love it.
Exactly, kind of like Zombieland esque, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. I just think that would be fun. Favorite location in 4, I gotta say, it was probably the mine carts because I one nighted that game with my little brother, and we do that's our tradition. When a new Resident Evil game comes out, we play it together in Boston all the way through. And that was like a 16-hour game first run. And so we were dipping at like 3 a.m. We were like, I don't know if we could do this. And we were getting tired. And then the mine cart happened. And holy shit, me and him got a second wind, like boom. That shit was so fun. Roller coaster ride, literally. Yeah, I gotta say that was a good time.
All the best games have a minecart level. I love it.
Yeah.
No, I really enjoyed the castle setting. I know it's kind of cliche, but it's just the design was wonderful. I did
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
the lab area and the areas where any of the Iron Maidens were. That I couldn't handle.
I I liked the whole game. I liked everything about it. That was a cool area. The Iron Maidens are my favorite. The regenerators. Oof. But
Oh
yeah, the
yeah.
castle and the mine cart's my
Mhm.
favorite.
I think it's Zophai, and forgive me if I mispronounced it, my friend.
It's
He
Sophie.
they so Zophie. Jeez, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Um,
He was on the other day, a couple
oh,
episodes ago.
nice.
Yeah, it's a couple
Great
episodes
kid.
ago. Yeah.
That's
Great
awesome.
kid.
Well, question: Ruben Langdon and the rest of the cast of Devil May Cry 5 had a more creative influence over the translation of the game because of Capcom's lesser restrictions with it. Were the Capcom restrictions as loose in the translations of Resident Evil 2 or 4, or were you simply given an unchangeable script?
No, it always adapts. I mean, there's a lot of voices in the room. Uh, Capcom hires very particular people for a reason. They trust these people, and what I mean by that is the cinematic director, and very importantly, the localization director. And so they are on every single shoot, and every line that is spoken, every scenario, it's it's coming from a Japanese script or maybe an English script, then it's translated in Japanese so they can understand it there in Japan, and then they translate it back in English. It's like a kind of like a merry-go-round. And then when it gets time for the scenes, just like any project, the director will see what's happening in the scene, always want to go through some changes, like maybe something's not really working. So they'll fine tune that. And then they'll have to translate that, interpret it with the Japanese people on the call and say, listen, we're making the suggestion for a change because it's for a Western audience. And, a Westerner, an American, maybe might not say that in this situation. They might say something like this. And then it's just like a back and forth of like trying to convince the other parties of why it might make more sense to do this or that. And so it's a very, very collaborative, respectful, creative process. And it's fascinating. I really think it's fun doing that. It's quicker to work with English speaking companies. It's a little quicker, yeah, but the interpretation and the dance between us is really addicting, actually, and I always have fun with it.
Nice. And I like how, as long as there is that level of collaboration, right, and level of respect, it leaves room to make the best product possible, instead of digging your heels in and say it has to be this way.
Yeah, because these games are essentially made for a Western audience, and
Mm,
American culture, Western culture is very different from Japanese culture, and so
yeah,
it's literally just those types of differences more than the language. It's the cultural understandings and the connotations.
absolutely. All right. Well, I'm going to jump to Safi just in case we don't have enough time. I want to get her question as well. What was your history and knowledge of the Resident Evil franchise before you landed the role? And now that you've performed as Leon and see how that integrates with the work, has your perception and understanding of the franchise changed drastically?
Okay, two-part question. I knew everything about the franchise. I've been playing almost since day one. I started back in 1998. I've played every single game that they've released. I knew everything about the projects, and I almost had to try to forget what I knew going into the remakes because we weren't trying to copy. We were trying to reimagine these things. And so, yes, I had to put some things out of my mind and make it my own, inject my own personality. What would I have done in this situation? And the second question was, how has it changed? Well, um, I'm officially a part of the collaboration team. I had a lot more creative liberty in four, I think, because they trusted me more at that point. I had played them twice before, and so they really trusted me and my sheer knowledge of what came before. And they knew that anything I was going to suggest had nothing to do with ego and everything to do with just doing the character justice. I just didn't want to fuck it up. I want to do him justice because if that's the last time I play him, I needed that to be like my best performance that I could ever possibly give, and that could have been my legacy. And so that's it. I'm happy. It came out great. It was the funnest project of my entire career. We had a blast filming that.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. Love it. All right. I think we can squeeze this last
Oh,
one in. Oh,
hold
go
on.
ahead.
Can I latch on to that last question? Okay,
No,
so with your
LeRon. Geez, gosh, gotta ruin the flow. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
so actually with your history and knowledge of the Resident Evil franchise, what is your standout moment, like your favorite moment from like the entire like history of Resident Evil? Like if there's like one scene, like like they were like we erase every other scene out of the franchise except for this one. Which one would you pick?
Oh man, that's one of those questions where I have to think about it for like I'd have to sleep on it for like 3 nights to make sure it was right. I don't know. I mean, I would probably have to pick something from my childhood because that's what affected me so much. Geez, the original Resident Evil 2. The first time I ever played a Resident Evil game was in '98. I slept over at my buddy's house, and I didn't know anything about the game. He told me it was going to be scary and bloody. I was like, okay, let's do it. And I just remember so vividly. You kind of start in burning Raccoon City. There's fire everywhere, police cars, and the zombies everywhere. And I didn't know how to play the game. I died immediately the first try, and I was like, "Oh, I got to run away from these guys. I don't have enough ammo." And that started it right then. Survival horror instincts. I got to run and find ammo, find guns, And, shortly after that, you find your shotgun. And I remember the relief of like, oh, I have a shotgun. It's a bigger gun. Oh, great. Okay. And that was it. And from then on, I was locked in, diehard Resident Evil fan from the opening 15 minutes of Resident Evil 2, the original.
I could listen to you all day talk about you acting out this iconic character. Like, I mean, Leon is iconic. He's probably, I would say, if not, top 3, probably the most iconic character in Resident Evil, at least to me.
He's up there.
Yeah, I think the only character that like tops Leon is Wesker. I think.
You think so?
I think. Oh, well, I look at it like this. I feel like people will actually get into fights as to, like, who's the most influential character in Resident Evil. It's going to be between Chris Redfield, Leon Kennedy, and Albert Wesker. Like, I mean, they're going to forget poor Jill, which I'm a Jill Valentine fan, actually. All right,
I know it's Leon, but
I'm interjecting too much. Let's continue with the questions.
No, I thought that was a great question. I wish I played enough Resident Evil games to be able to answer that myself, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, I don't play.
You can always go back.
I don't play a lot of the B-side games. I mainly play like just the main games and stuff like that. Yeah, and I need to actually finish RE4 remake. I need to finish it.
Come on, LeRon, I finished it.
You didn't finish it?
No, I'm busy playing. I'm busy playing Dead Space, which our guest here was also a voice actor in.
No, I was not. Correct.
It got you in the credits on IMDb. Did they lie?
Mocap.
Oh, mocap.
They didn't say.
Oh,
I was not a voice actor. I did motion capture for a few select scenes for Oscar Isaac, and I'm sorry, Oscar Isaac.
Isaac Clarke. Oh, really?
Oh, very cool.
Oh, okay. What? See, Resident Evil. I mean, Dead Space is my franchise. I'm just gonna put that out there.
The remake was good.
Yes.
It is your franchise, but you need to put that down. Put Monster Hunter down. Put Tekken 8 down. You need to finish. You need to finish.
If you were to play Leon again, or if they asked you to play Leon for, let's say, 2 or 3 more games, or how long do you envision yourself playing Leon?
I can't even answer that question. I mean, if they call me back, I'd be honored. But until that happens, I'm very, very happy with the 3 projects that I did. And if it ends on 4, I can sleep. I can sleep well at night knowing that, because that was a very important project in my life. So
if they don't call you back, Capcom, that's a big mistake if you don't. What advice would you give the next person to take on such an iconic role?
If they don't know much about the character, I would implore them to do their research. He's a beloved character for a reason. He's got a legacy. And I would hope that I'm sure, here's the thing. If Capcom cast somebody else to carry that torch, they would do the right thing. They'd pick the right person, because they did it with me and they trusted me. And I have a lot of trust with Capcom. They are very smart. They're very good at what they do. And so I would just say to the new person, trust themselves and trust that Capcom made the right decision.
Good point. I mean, Capcom really hit the nail on the head with all these remakes. I mean, I feel like we're in a major era of remakes in general, but I feel like Capcom was one of the first ones to do it with RE2 Remake. So
yeah,
they're pioneers in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I got a lot of respect for them.
Yeah, I feel like out of all the companies in the industry, Capcom has definitely not missed in a long time in terms of quality, the talent they get, the stories they tell. They definitely have not missed. Nick, nice. I know you have to run. Thank you again for your time. This was incredible. Where can people find you? Where can people follow you? And hopefully see you in more games and more projects.
I mean, I'm kind of lazy with it nowadays, but mostly just Twitter and Instagram. I have most of my announcements of if I'm going to any conventions or new projects or the stuff that I'm working on. It's usually there. So Instagram, Twitter, if you guys follow me, X, whatever it is, you will know updates when I am able to say them. So that's about it. That's where I exist online.
Cool.
Excellent.
Cool.
Thank
And
you so
all the
much, Nick.
yeah.
Hey, thank you guys. Yeah, it's always fun to hang. I wish I could stay longer. We just had a bit of a late start, but it's been a pleasure. It's an honor just being invited, and always cool to just nerd out with fellow dorks.
Yeah, video
Well,
games are cool now.
Yep.
For
They're
real.
cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I always thought they were cool.
Well, Nick, thanks a lot. And everybody, we'll be back in a second for the next segment. If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are -1, but we really appreciate Nick taking the time, Nick Apostolides. We will have all the following stuff in the show notes, so you can go follow him and check him out and play Resident Evil. Support Nick and the craft and Capcom because they're doing great stuff. Stephanie, proud of you. That was great. Thanks for tracking that down.
Well, again, shout out to I will call you my buddy. I hope that's not weird. Shout out to my buddy Chris. You never know who you're gonna run into or meet wherever you are.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. I'm not just saying it just because we had him on, but even though I'm a new fan to the franchise, I loved whoever had voiced Leon Kennedy in RE4 and RE2 remake before I even know who he was. So I was a little starstruck. I think I kept everything in check and didn't freak him out, but we'll see.
All you had to do is talk to me. I've met the guy before.
Oh, okay, LeRon. Sorry, we're not cool like
Hey,
you are.
Corey and I even threw you like the link so you could watch the episode.
Oh, yeah, like a
I
few
know you.
hours before the recording. JK. It was a good time.
Now. Take that, Ben
was a good time.
Starr.
Yeah. When are you joining us, Ben? We'll see you at
kidding,
Starbucks
please.
next year. PAX 25. Woo!
Oh man, good times. But Nick, thanks again for joining us. It was awesome. We're gonna get into what we've been playing, and then we're gonna get out of here. I know this is a little bit of a shorter episode, but
The
we're squeezing
quality.
in a bunch
I
of
mean,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, look at all the cool guests you've gotten in the last 8 weeks, everybody.
I know, right? I know.
Come on. So
Yeah. Then
Stephanie,
we gotta pack up our bags and sorry.
Oh, what? You got to pack up our bags and go where? What?
Go to PAX West, bitch. All right, anyway.
Whoa.
Oh wow.
Whoa.
It's spicy. All right.
Anyway, Stephanie, it's been great seeing you. You can no, I'm just kidding. Stephanie, what
I've
are you
been playing?
Yeah.
So I'm dabbling in a few different things. So I'm still playing through Ocarina of Time. Not that that's a new game for our book club. I realize that we're recording at the end of the week, so I might not be able to actually complete this run, but I know the game like the back of my hand. I beat it at least 12 times, so whatever, it's fine. But it's nice to get through it. I like replaying it because my son gets to watch and he asks like so many questions and he's really funny because he knows Zelda, but he's still young. So like when I went to Dodongo's Cavern, he went up to me and goes, "Oh, are you at the Moron Cave?" I'm like, "You mean Goron?" So it's very cute. And he's like running around the house humming Saria's song. It's just a grand old time every time I boot up Ocarina. So I haven't finished Mother 3 yet, but I'm still playing through that. It is a RPG, so it's on the longer side, but I really enjoy it. I really do. Thank goodness for my analog pocket and the fan translation. Thank you. And then I might have said this whenever I beat Silent Hill, the original, because I'll be guesting on a certain podcast that talks about video games. And that's it. Those are my 3 primary ones. There are definitely gonna be a few games I will be booting up, for my travels, next week to PAX. One of them is Farewell North. I congratulated the game dev on X, shout out to him, because Farewell North was a game that was at Moon Eye Studio in PAX 23, and I really loved the demo. And I got a little Farewell North magnet, and now it's out, so I'm gonna download it and play it. So that's me.
Awesome. I Ocarina of Time. Let me tell you, Stephanie, I am struggling a little bit.
Where are
Um,
you at now?
specifically with the movement. I just got off of Death
Oh,
Mountain as an adult. So but it's more of like, so I'm playing on the Switch with the N64 controller. Um
mhm,
and like it's it's so crazy to think about like like more modern 3D Zelda games have, like, yes, they are structured the same as Ocarina of Time, but like, I mean, you think about the GameCube controller or even the Switch Pro controller or the Wii U gamepad, and like just the way the joysticks work differently than the N64 makes movement like like it makes the movement way less of a, I don't want to say less of a chore, but um I it's taken me a little bit of time to get used to the N64 movement of Link again because of the directional, like the way the stick works is like the 32 way directional pad instead of like the 360, move any direction type thing, the way that modern controllers work. um
mhm,
but I have to say there was a point where like I absolutely hated the game, and then there was a point where I like fell in love with it all over again. I'm like, I see why people think this is like one of the greatest games of all time, because you know, I hated Jabu Jabu's palace or belly.
Jabu Jabu's
Uh,
belly, get it straight, man.
I hate carrying Princess
Princess
Ruto
Ruto.
around. I can't stand it. It was
She's a spoiled
annoying.
brat. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but the forest temple, like the forest temple is like for me where the game like really starts. Uh, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, it's so cool going in there. And like once you finish the temple, you go to the sacred realm and see the sages, like, like, and you start piecing together like all these important characters that you meet throughout the game are actually like the sages, and um how they actually help you and try to, piece together this this world with these sages and take out Ganon, right? Like it's just
Mhm,
so, I I am kind of like really enamored with it, because as much as I love Twilight Princess, like the story doesn't piece together this way. You just kind of
mhm,
know kind of what's going on most of the time in that game. Whereas in Ocarina of Time, you get pieces of the story with each sage. And
mhm,
so um I think that's a really cool storytelling element that future Zeldas actually miss. Um
right. It's funny that you
so
mentioned the movement right after coming off of Death Mountain, which I assume is the Fire Temple as adult, because that's where I struggle with movement the most. Because I recently beat that, and I hate when you try to get the Megaton hammer because you need to go up this very narrow, curved
mhm.
thing, and it's timed, and there's fire keys, and there's another in another section where the walkway's so narrow and you're so high up, and if you just go too fast, you fall down and you have to go all the way back up to the temple again. I wanted to pull my hair out. I'm like, I love this game, I love this game, I love this game, but I'm so frustrated.
uh,
So
yeah, I
yeah, LeRon, I see you shaking your head and smirking, LeRon. It's okay, I love
Mm.
you. You're lucky I love you.
um
Well, actually, I'm smirking because like no, I appreciate that you actually love the game. I do. Like I don't know, like you guys couldn't have paid me to have been on the book club for this one.
Well,
don't
it's
worry,
funny
we
you
gave you
mention that
Dead
because
Space.
when we do I have multiple personality? No, when I played it this time around, I
Mhm.
did go, "Ooh, it's like loving your ugly child. It's like, oh, you're so
Oh
ugly.
my god, that is an
But
analogy.
but you love your child. You love your child no matter how ugly they are. And Ocarina
Yeah.
of Time, there's definitely aspects of it that just aged horribly. And I'm like, I have to still love you. So, don't worry, LeRon, I'm very realistic about how the game is now.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Well, the one thing I will say, like in the years that we've known each other, you've given me a respect to at least not, be so super critical about like Ocarina of Time. Like it's still a game that I probably will never want to experience again in my life.
Mhm,
But it's also because like everyone knows by now, like I have my own preference when it comes to the Legend of Zelda franchise as far as like how the game is delivered and how it plays and stuff like that, and just Ocarina and Majora's Mask just hit me the wrong way.
mhm. Fair enough.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
but
also the N64 and the PS1 come from an era where those games just don't age well
Mhm.
anyway,
isn't it
right? Because
isn't it
it's the
wild? Isn't it wild? I just realized something though. Like, isn't it wild? Like we've had a Zelda release on the Switch practically every year for the last 4 years.
I mean, there's been
Yeah.
one every year since the Switch released.
There,
Mhm.
okay. I wasn't really keeping 100% track of it, but I know for sure. Like
Yeah,
Zelda fans have been eating good.
they want a
Yeah,
Zelda
we can't
release every
complain.
year.
I know, I almost
Um,
think, and I wanna say this delicately, but it's almost like, should we really be spoiled that much? I mean, the quality hasn't suffered, I guess, but I don't know, I'm always like, I
yeah,
don't know.
they've also done a good job of like balancing it between like here's a new game, here's the 3D game, here's the 2D game, here's the remake, here's the remaster, here's the spin-off, here's Cadence of Hyrule, right? I mean, they've done a decent job of like spacing
Actually,
them
I
out
don't
in
count
terms of
Cadence of Hyrule as a Zelda game.
well, they do.
That's a game masquerading as a Zelda game.
It's a
I'm
spinoff.
just
I
saying,
count as a spinoff.
yeah, it's like it's in the same category as like Hyrule Warriors, in my opinion. Um, so yeah, but I mean, Furukawa came out and said that he wants a Zelda release every year because Zelda's just as important as Mario. So, but I'm really enjoying revisiting this world that I haven't visited in 30 years at this point, 25 years. So,
Mhm.
and then I'm also continuing my trek through Wolfenstein: The New Order. It is, it's fun. I'm ready to be done with this one and move on to the Old Blood or something else entirely. Um, I really like the story that they're telling. I'm ready to see how Machine Games kind of evolves the gameplay from like going from Wolfenstein to Indiana Jones because like yeah, they're both first persons where you're punching Nazis, but like two totally different. Um, you know, Wolfenstein is very gruesome and bloody, and
Are you
Indiana
still
Jones is
playing that?
very what Wolfenstein.
Yeah, the second one, because I was listening to Pow Block, and I think you
I'm
said you
playing
were
the
playing
first
the
one.
Okay.
The first, yeah. Yes, I'm still playing it. I've just been really busy the last few weeks, so I haven't really got as much game time as I wanted to. Plus, I'm trying to
Mm,
like power through Ocarina for book club. Uh,
mhm.
but yeah, I think it controls really well. I think the acting is done very well, and I'm excited to kind of see what Indiana Jones is going to be because as of this recording, Gamescom happened today, opening night live, and there's a lot of cool stuff. And Indiana Jones coming in December, and I'm very excited. So
I know, I kinda like that collector's edition too.
I know I'm looking at it. It's cool because like there's Jock Lindsay's plane, there's the globe, there's the journal, there's the puzzle, there's all these cool things. Uh
Maybe you'll get it as a gift.
nope,
Yeah.
will not accept. Hashtag back to sender.
You
uh
might lose friends over that.
oh
Yeah, yeah,
no.
I'm thinking you might.
Um
Anyway, what else you playing?
that's actually all I've been playing. Um So Ocarina of Time
Okay.
has been most of my time.
It takes time, you know.
Plus, I get distracted. I'm like, I know where I need to go next, but I get distracted because I'm like, oh, there's a rock over there that can clearly be blown up. Let's go see what's in the hole over
Mm.
there. Or,
Yep.
oh, that hole in the wall, there's a fairy fountain in there. Let's go in there,
hmm
So I keep getting
Well, I
distracted.
also, it's an older game, so many of the times that when something instructional comes up, you can't speed through the text. I'm like, yes,
Mhm.
Navi, I know there's something in the water.
Oh, I
Stop
know.
it.
Navi's the worst. Oh my god, every time.
And the
Every
owl.
5 seconds.
The owl. You always need to pick the opposite of what the arrow lands on, or else he repeats it.
Yeah.
Another
The
reason why I
damn
don't miss
owl.
that game. Another
Yeah.
reason why I don't miss it.
But like I'm literally like in Death Mountain and Navi's like, "Hey, we should go to Death Mountain." I'm like, "I'm literally burning alive in here and you're killing me by telling me we need to go here." LeRon, what are you powering through?
Um, Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah,
Mainly
I
because like,
downloaded it by the way,
oh, good.
finally.
Ah.
So,
Honestly, it was because of Josh and
yeah.
Jeff. A
Yeah.
couple episodes ago,
Yeah.
we got to talk about Shogun, and then got
Mhm.
swept up in the Ghost of Tsushima thing. I was like, oh, I need to get back on this game.
Yeah. It's
Also, Final
I
Fantasy VII Remake Integrate because like I'm jonesing myself for the announcement that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will come to PC soon.
Are you excited for 16 coming to PC?
Hell yes. I downloaded the demo, but I haven't had a chance to play it yet.
Hmm.
Then
Yeah.
also, sorry, I'm chewing some saltwater taffy. Sorry.
Hmm.
Yum.
But
Snacking on the show. Classic
you caught
LeRon.
me you got me right as I was putting a piece of candy in my mouth, Corey. I hate you.
Hmm.
Always
Well,
something in your mouth, Ron.
Oh, it
it's
always
better to
is.
be caught
Yeah.
with candy than something else, LeRon,
Hey, you know what? Some of us
It
just have an
depends.
oral fixation.
Damn right. Um, in my adventures with Tekken 8, like I finally ranked up. I
Nice.
so like
Nice.
once
Yay.
once that happened Saturday afternoon. Once that happened, I haven't played the game since.
Are you still
I'll probably
meeting with that French dude? That's my
Victor.
favorite as well.
Hell
Victor, yeah.
yeah, hell yeah.
He's my guy. I
I'm
love
taking
him.
him to the top. I'm 22nd. I'm 22nd Dan now, so
Yeah.
that means I literally only need to rank up 6 more times for him to get like maxed out.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like it's been a battle. Let's just put it that way. And then I'm still working my way through my second run of Dead Space 2, Dead Space remake. I'm 55% of the way through with the new game plus. And two things I'm trying to do. Besides the fact that I'm trying to get the ultimate ending, I'm also trying to get the beat the game using just the plasma cutter, which is one of the big unsuspecting achievements from the original game, where you get the one gun trophy, basically, where you use it just by playing with the one gun that you get at the very beginning of the game. Which honestly, when you play with all the other weapons and stuff like that, all the other weapons are cool and stuff like that. But the plasma rifle is like the champion.
Mm-hmm.
It's like running the Resident Evil with, well, I wouldn't say run through Resident Evil with the Magnum, but basically like if you had enough bullets to like have the Magnum for in your inventory the entire time, that's what you would run Resident Evil with.
Nice.
So yeah, that's it for me. Like strangely enough, no Monster Hunter this week.
Oh, man, I'm itching for something new to play. I'm like, I feel like I get to that point where I like take too long to play certain games and I just don't want to finish it because I'm spend too much
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like
Now,
mental time with it, and you know what I mean?
now I have a question for you, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
Why were you asking me about Monster Hunter Wilds? Is it because you're about to? Is it because you're about to like taper down on Destiny?
Capcom's gonna be at PAX and they're taking Monster Hunter.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
And I thought I would preview it for you.
Ask for a review code, please.
Yeah.
I don't know if the for hire booth workers will have codes for us. Maybe if there's some Capcom people there, we'll talk
You never know.
about.
It's connections, baby.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited for PAX. It will have already happened by the time this episode comes out, but I'm very
Yeah,
excited.
okay.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I need to make it to next Thursday. I one
Yeah.
day at a time.
Yeah.
I might not want to go home.
Yeah. It sucks because I'm actually leaving early on Monday. I thought I was leaving on Tuesday, but I'm actually leaving on Monday for home. So I'll only be there 3 days. Well, 4,
Well,
I
not
guess,
if you mysteriously get kidnapped.
oh no.
I don't think his wife would like that.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, maybe she would like it. Maybe she finally. It's fine. It'll all be fine. It'll all work itself out, right?
That's Corey's phrase. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
You know. I just I need to get all this editing done so I can just kind of prepare next week. So, but we'll
You've
be
been doing a ton of work, Corey, which thank you for doing that, and I appreciate you. But please let me know if there's anything I can take off your back, I guess is the saying. Because even though I'm like still slowly trying to get back into the swing of things, like please just let me know.
Yeah, I mean the only thing like so we'll have enough episodes of everything except for After Dark to take off 2 weeks after PAX. So like the week after PAX is over and then the week following if we want to the only thing we'll need is After Dark episodes, which I guess we'll figure that out at some point. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean that's the goal. Is like that's why all these episodes are kind of coming out. We're recording before PAX, so everybody can kind of have a break because PAX is
It's a lot. It's
anybody who's
fun,
ever
but
been to
it's a
PAX.
lot.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean
Are you
there's a lot
ready
of
to
great.
be in one household with Ed again?
As long as I don't have to share a room with him, I'll be fine.
I think we'll be good.
Wait. Okay, Stephanie, who snored the worst between Corey and Ed? I know both of them
I,
snores.
I was
It
on a
was,
completely different floor.
but I think we've been at this recording thing tonight long enough.
Yeah.
What do we say we call the night, everybody? Stephanie, it was good to have
Yeah.
you back finally.
Yes. Like I said on, I think it was the pre-show. Other than maybe the occasional I might have to work situation, I do plan on being back on Boss Rush, and hopefully After Dark more regularly. Thank you for letting me take a bit of that break. It had more to do with just managing my personal and work life, just to get that situated. So here I'm happy. This is my happy place with you guys.
Yeah, we missed you. I mean, look, we filled the chair, but nobody
Mhm.
fills it like you do, Stephanie. So, um, anyway, LeRon, I love you too.
Oh, you too, Corey.
Let's all give each
You're
other a hug.
you're the
Hugs.
best.
I know.
Yes.
Let's see. A lot of great episodes out. We had one, just to plug a few. A lot of great spotlights Stephanie has
Mhm.
put out recently uh, with John Calderon of Angry Demon Studios, Rocket Adrift, uh, Tanant, Tanant Games,
Can
right?
Games. Yep.
Um, we did one with Aaron Grubb, Astral Clock Tower. Book Club will be out by the time you hear this. Paper Mario will be free. Ocarina of Time will be the Patreon one. Stray is out already.
Oh, quick thing about the Angry Demon Studio spotlight, because shout out to them, shout out to your team, congratulations, because I think either by the time this comes out, Gory Cuddly Carnage would have either come out or like almost
It's
that time. It's
imminent.
like I think about yeah, it's like about 8 days away or something. So good luck and put future congrats on the release. I know I'll be playing it.
Yeah, that game looks cool. I was watching it. I was watching a trailer because I didn't really know what it was, and now I do, and it looks really cool. So, and it takes a lot for me to be gravitated towards an indie. So,
An indie game with a cat.
I know. I know. Anyways, LeRon and I interviewed Jeff Gardner. You can check that out on Boss Rush Podcast a couple weeks ago. We had Matt Storm on. We had a lot of great people. Adam Gumbert from Respawn Aim Fire was on with me and Pat, and so was Nick Fakori from Friday Night Gamecast. Check that out. Check out all of our backlog stuff. Just trying to plug. Stephanie, LeRon, thank you for your time tonight, as always. Stephanie, thanks for grabbing Nick. Nick, thank you for your time too. If you're listening this far, thanks for your time as well. And I hope to see you in a future Resident Evil game.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, and we're all on the same page, Nick agreed to come on this podcast by choice. I did not hold him at gunpoint. I did not threaten him in any way, shape, or form.
Sure, Steph. Sure.
Jeez. All right. Oh my gosh. Anyways,
good night.
Everybody out there, support us on Patreon, patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. Check out bossrush.net for all of our content. Subscribe to YouTube. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.